Most people are used to the idea of recycling. Your plastic and glass and aluminum, most people know those can be turned into useful products again. There's no reason to bury them in the landfill. Not a lot of people are thinking that way about things like the scraps from their kitchen yet. But those are just as useful. There's no reason to bury them underground forever.
I try to remember not to refer to the material as food waste and refer to it as food scraps. Really, it's not wasted until somebody wastes it.
We're finding use for more and more materials. We're finding smarter ways to do things. Recycling isn't just about picking up cans, it's about preventing waste. That's the point.
Here in Santa Cruz, people are very active recyclers. Of the entire waste stream here, about 70% of it is recycled. And there's anywhere that does better than that. That's a very good number. Of what's left, about a third of that is food waste.
The county has a very short amount of storage space left in their landfill. No one wants one in their backyard. So we have to treat that amount of space that they have in there as a fairly precious commodity, even though that they're using it to entomb trash.
Unless we do something with the food waste, we're not going to be able to improve our numbers much more. So we decided that we wanted to try composting that food waste. Well, people have been composting forever. Because it's a pilot program, it's fairly small, and we wanted to keep it within a limited geographic area to make collecting the food waste simple. Green waste trucks go out and collect the food waste, and then they take it to a nearby landfill for composting.
So that's the receiving area. That's where we inspect the material, pull some contaminants, and then we mix it with mulch, which is made from ground up yard waste. And so that all gets mixed together, and then it gets introduced into these windrows, these big piles here.
Sometimes I'm lying awake at night and my wife looks at me and says, "Will you please stop thinking about trash?" I know it seems like a silly thing to be obsessed with, but it really touches on so many of the big issues that our society is struggling with. Limited land, pollution, climate change. All of these things are tied into the way we produce products and dispose of them when we're done with them. But it's important to remember that there are no free options. When I was a little boy, people took their trash out to a place in the hills and dumped it, and once a month the city would send somebody out to set fire to it. We're clearly not going back to that. So we're going to have to do something with it. Landfilling is not cheap.
We had started a food waste compost pilot project back in October of 2008. And Santa Cruz County had been working on their food waste diversion program for a bit longer. Due to some challenges they had with permitting at their compost site, they decided to redirect the material to us right at a time when we were ready to scale up our program. So the timing for us was great, and it's allowed us to handle a larger volume of material.
In a few years, we plan to roll this out countywide. Every business and every home in the county will have a cart where they can combine yard waste and food waste. And then it'll be taken to a central location and turned into compost. And at that point, it will come back to the county. We'll be getting a new permit and doing it within the county boundaries on a much larger scale.
It's one thing to pick up compost, and it's another thing to have a plan for it. As soon as that's in place, and I've heard that it will be probably within the year, we'll probably be one of the early participants in that. And everybody's eagerly awaiting it. Until that happens, we have our guerrilla composting in our produce department. But that's very successful and people appreciate it. We have 100 employees at this store, so a little bit of food gets swept up. Nobody will ever go hungry here. There's always bread and peanut butter. Beyond that, if we were ever in a position where we had just a lot of something, we do donate it to the Second Harvest Food Bank. We give them a call, they'll come and pick things up. I think there are quite a few businesses that do give directly to places like that.
Okay, this is my
It is really designed to give our seniors fresh product that they can eat that is nutritious and doesn't cost them anything, so that they have discretionary income. They can spend it on things like medical supplies. Actually, I was familiar with it, but I didn't know anything about them until my mother became terminally ill, and I had to move her into this area, and she had a real strong need to be independent right up to the very end. And Gray Bears was there with their weekly brown bag. This program was first initiated by UCSC students back in the 70s, was that they saw a lot of food waste in the agricultural fields after the harvesting process, and they felt that that was wrong. It has grown, and now we are actually part of the harvesting cycle, and many farms donate their product, their excess product, to a central food distribution agency where we get our food from.
We've definitely improved on what we call our town-gown relationships, especially when one of our goals is to return more money to the local economy. Currently, we partner with an organization out in Salinas, which is a consortium of farmers called ALBA. That's returning over $800,000, $900,000 a year to our local farmers.
The university is supposed to be at the cutting edge of knowledge and information. Where recycling has become pretty mainstream, there's a continuous wave of new people coming through the university that we may be introducing the concept of resource conservation, waste reduction, recycling, and helping these people develop good environmental practices that make sense, that they can incorporate into their daily lives and they can take from the campus on into the rest of their life with them.
We made the determination that when the department opened that we would work with as many groups and organizations to bring a more sustainable food system to our campus, to our students, our faculty and staff. And it's been exciting to roll out a lot of those programs that we currently have going. Took the trays out of the dining halls, which reduced our food waste significantly, over 30%. But more importantly, we're saving about 1 million gallons of water by not running all of those trays through the dish machines. Waste can be very sexy. And so there's a lot of people are getting involved in the waste campaign.
The campus has a big goal. We're committed to a policy of 75% waste reduction by June of 2012. And a zero waste policy by the year 2020, where we would recycle, compost, reduce, and otherwise change practices so that we're generating as little waste as possible.
One of the ways that dining has helped in a large percentage is to start composting. The tonnage that we're trucking out to the facility is really pretty phenomenal. Right now we're at about 60 tons per month.